The High Middle Ages, spanning from the 11th to the 13th centuries, marked a transformative period in European history. This era witnessed the gradual decline of the feudal system and the emergence of a vibrant urban renaissance that would reshape society forever. Western Europe experienced unprecedented growth, particularly in two remarkable regions: the Italian city-states and Flanders. The Italian peninsula saw the rise of powerful commercial centers like Florence, Venice, and Genoa, where merchant families built impressive economic empires. Meanwhile, Flanders, with cities such as Bruges and Ghent, became the textile manufacturing hub of medieval Europe, their famous wool craftsmanship attracting traders from across the continent. The post-feudal commercial renaissance brought dramatic changes to urban landscapes. Medieval cities were characterized by narrow, winding streets that followed ancient Roman paths or grew organically around key landmarks like churches and market squares. These cramped thoroughfares, often no wider than a cart's width, created intimate spaces where commerce and daily life intertwined. The sensory experience of these medieval urban centers was rich and distinctive. The rhythmic sound of hammers echoing from craftsmen's workshops created a constant symphony of industry. Blacksmiths' forges sent the sharp ping of metal striking metal through the air, while woodworkers' tools produced softer, more melodic tones. The air was thick with the mingled sense of urban life: the sharp tang of tanned leather from the tanner's quarter, the earthy smell of worked wood from carpenters' shops, and the metallic aroma of hot iron from the smithies. Markets and fairs brought additional layers of sensory stimulation. The bustling atmosphere was filled with the sounds of haggling merchants, the calls of street vendors, and the general murmur of crowds going about their daily business. These gathering places were the beating heart of medieval urban economy, where local craftsmen displayed their wares alongside exotic goods from distant lands. The architecture of these growing cities reflected their commercial nature. Buildings typically rose 2 or 3 stories high, constructed from a combination of timber and stone. The ground floors housed workshops and shops, with large windows and doors that opened onto the street, allowing craftsmen to display their goods and work in natural light. The upper floors served as living quarters for the artisans and their families, creating a vertical integration of work and domestic life that was characteristic of medieval urban planning. This physical arrangement of space fostered a unique social environment where work, family life, and community interaction were deeply interconnected. The proximity of workshops to living quarters meant that apprentices often lived with their masters, learning not just their craft but also absorbing the social and cultural values of their guild. The streets themselves became extensions of these workshops and homes, with craftsmen often working in the open air when weather permitted, contributing to the lively atmosphere of medieval urban life. This period laid the groundwork for modern urban development and commercial practices, marking the transition from a predominantly rural, feudal society to one increasingly centered on urban commerce and craftsmanship. The legacy of this transformation can still be seen in many European city centers today, where medieval street patterns and buildings continue to shape the urban landscape. In the bustling streets of 13th century Florence, young Giovanni emerges as a compelling figure in the medieval guild system. At 16, this ambitious apprentice goldsmith represents the new generation of urban craftsmen. Born to a modest family, Giovanni's natural talent for metalwork and keen eye for detail earned him a coveted apprenticeship in one of Florence's most prestigious goldsmith workshops. His story embodies the social mobility that the guild system made possible, as he strives to rise from apprentice to master craftsman through dedication and skill. Master Alberto, Giovanni's mentor and a respected guild master, stands as a pillar of the goldsmiths' guild. With 3 decades of experience crafting intricate pieces for wealthy merchants and church officials, he represents the pinnacle of medieval craftsmanship. His workshop, located near the Ponte Vecchio, is renowned for producing some of the finest religious artifacts and jewelry in Florence. Master Alberto's character illustrates the complex role of guild masters, who are not only craftsmen but also businessmen, teachers, and community leaders. Isabella, the daughter of a prosperous textile merchant, brings a different perspective to the narrative. Her father's success in the wool trade has provided her with an education unusual for women of her time. She understands both Latin and arithmetic, skills crucial for merchant families. Isabella's character highlights the interconnected nature of medieval commerce and the role of merchant families in urban society, as well as the gradual expansion of women's roles in commercial life. Father Thomas serves as the bridge between the religious and commercial worlds of medieval Florence. As the local church representative, he navigates the delicate balance between spiritual guidance and practical commerce. His position is crucial in mediating disputes and blessing new workshops, while also commissioning religious artifacts that provide work for craftsmen like Giovanni and Master Alberto. His character reveals the church's significant influence on medieval commerce and guild life. Peter Schoeffer, a historical figure who revolutionized printing in Mainz, represents the innovative spirit of medieval craftsmen. As Johann Gutenberg's apprentice and later partner, Schoeffer's contributions to printing technology transformed medieval communication and knowledge dissemination. His development of more efficient printing methods and improved type designs demonstrates how guild-trained craftsmen could innovate within their traditional framework. Though based in Mainz, his influence spread throughout Europe, affecting how information and ideas were shared across the continent. Count Roberto emerges as the embodiment of resistance to social change. A nobleman whose family has held feudal rights over local commerce for generations, he views the rising power of guilds as a direct threat to his traditional authority. His attempts to maintain control over trade through excessive tolls and restrictions represent the broader struggle between the old feudal order and the emerging urban commercial class. The Count's actions create tension between the traditional power structures and the new economic forces reshaping medieval society. The interaction between these characters mirrors the larger social transformations of the High Middle Ages. Their relationships illustrate the complex web of medieval urban life, where religious authority, commercial interests, and traditional power structures constantly intersected. Through their individual stories, we see how the guild system not only transformed commerce but also created new social possibilities, allowing talented individuals to rise through skill and merit rather than birth alone. Their daily interactions, conflicts, and collaborations paint a vivid picture of a society in transition. Whether in Master Alberto's workshop, the merchant's counting house, or the local church, these characters navigate a world where traditional medieval values increasingly accommodate new commercial and social realities. Their stories collectively demonstrate how the guild system fostered not just economic change but a fundamental restructuring of medieval urban society. The rise of specialized labor during the High Middle Ages marked one of history's most significant social and economic transformations. This period witnessed an unprecedented shift as skilled craftsmen and merchants carved out a new place in society, creating opportunities for social advancement that had never before existed in medieval Europe. At the heart of this transformation lay the revolutionary concept that individual skill, expertise, and hard work could elevate one's social standing. This departure from the rigid feudal hierarchy, where birth determined destiny, represented a fundamental change in medieval society. Craftsmen who mastered their trades could achieve wealth and respect comparable to that of minor nobility, establishing what would eventually become the middle class. The tension between the established feudal order and emerging merchant class created deep-seated conflicts. Nobles, accustomed to controlling all aspects of economic life through feudal rights and privileges, found themselves challenged by increasingly wealthy and influential guild members. This conflict played out in various ways, from legal battles over market rights to sometimes violent confrontations in towns and cities. Nobles often attempted to maintain their control through excessive tolls, arbitrary taxes, and restrictions on trade, while guild members sought to establish their independence and right to self-governance. The struggle for free trade emerged as another crucial battlefield. Medieval merchants and craftsmen fought tirelessly for the right to conduct business without excessive interference from feudal lords. This included battles over market days, trading routes, and the right to sell goods in different locations. The concept of town air makes free became a powerful rallying cry, promising that living in a town for a year and a day could free a person from feudal obligations. Social resistance to change manifested in multiple ways. The established church sometimes viewed the accumulation of wealth through trade with suspicion, particularly regarding moneylending and interest charges. Traditional agricultural communities often resented the growing power of urban centers, while conservative elements within towns themselves resisted innovations that threatened established practices. Competition between guilds added another layer of complexity to medieval urban life. Different guilds frequently clashed over jurisdictional boundaries and market rights. For example, conflicts might arise between goldsmiths and silversmiths over who had the right to work with certain metals, or between weavers and dyers over the control of textile production processes. These disputes could become heated, sometimes requiring intervention from town authorities or even royal courts. The protection of trade secrets emerged as a crucial concern for medieval guilds. Each guild jealously guarded its specialized knowledge, seeing it as essential to maintaining their economic advantage. This led to elaborate systems of apprenticeship, where skills were carefully passed down under strict conditions of secrecy. Masters would only teach their techniques to approved apprentices who had sworn oaths of confidentiality, and workshops were often designed to prevent outsiders from observing crucial processes. Throughout these conflicts, guilds developed sophisticated strategies for protecting their interests. They created detailed regulations governing quality standards, working conditions, and training requirements. They established systems for settling disputes between members and representing their interests to local authorities. Some guilds became powerful enough to influence city politics, with guild masters often serving on town councils and even as mayors. The resolution of these conflicts helped shape modern commercial practices. The guild's emphasis on quality standards, fair competition, and professional training established principles that continue to influence business practices today. Their struggle for economic freedom and self-governance contributed to the development of commercial law and the concept of professional associations. These conflicts and their resolutions fundamentally altered medieval society, creating new paths for social advancement and establishing principles of economic organization that would endure for centuries. The success of the guild system in navigating these challenges demonstrated that skill, expertise, and organized cooperation could create sustainable economic and social progress, laying the groundwork for modern commercial society. The medieval guild system operated on a strictly hierarchical structure that shaped every aspect of daily urban life. At the pinnacle stood the master craftsmen, accomplished artisans who owned their workshops and had earned the right to train others. These masters had typically spent decades perfecting their craft and had produced a masterpiece, exemplary piece of work that demonstrated their exceptional skill to earn their position. Below the masters were the journeymen, qualified craftsmen who had completed their apprenticeship but had not yet achieved master status. These skilled workers often traveled between cities, working in different workshops to broaden their experience and perfect their techniques. The term journeyman itself derives from the French word journée, reflecting their practice of being paid by the day. At the foundation of the guild hierarchy were the apprentices, usually young boys between the ages of 12 and 15 who entered into binding contracts with master craftsmen. These contracts, typically lasting 7 years, required the master to provide food, lodging, and training while the apprentice promised obedience and dedication to learning the trade. Daily life in a medieval workshop began at dawn with the ringing of church bells. Masters and apprentices lived together in the same building, with the workshop typically occupying the ground floor and living quarters above. The apprentice's day started with basic tasks, lighting fires, preparing tools, and cleaning the workshop. As the morning progressed, they would observe and assist their masters while learning the intricacies of their craft. Knowledge transmission followed a carefully structured pattern. Masters would first demonstrate basic techniques, allowing apprentices to practice under close supervision. As skills developed, apprentices would be entrusted with increasingly complex tasks. This hands-on education was supplemented with oral instruction, as masters passed down the accumulated wisdom of their craft, including trade secrets that were jealously guarded within the guild. Quality control was paramount in guild operations. Masters regularly inspected work at various stages of production, ensuring that guild standards were maintained. Finished products often bore the master's mark, a personal stamp that guaranteed quality and allowed any substandard work to be traced back to its source. Guild officials conducted regular inspections of workshops to verify that standards were being maintained. Women played a more significant role in medieval guilds than is often recognized. While most guilds were male-dominated, widows of master craftsmen could inherit their husband's workshop and continue the business. Some trades, particularly silkworking and brewing, had significant female participation. In certain cities, women could become guild members in their own right, though this was relatively rare. The integration of foreigners into guild life varied by region and period. Some cities welcomed foreign craftsmen who brought new techniques and innovations, while others imposed strict restrictions on outside participation. Successful integration often depended on marriage into local craft families or exceptional skill that could benefit the local economy. Guild systems also provided extensive social protection for their members. They maintained funds to support sick or injured members, provided for widows and orphans, and even organized funerals for deceased members. This system of mutual aid created a safety net that protected craftsmen and their families from the worst effects of illness, injury, or death. In times of economic hardship, guilds worked to ensure fair distribution of work among members. They regulated working hours, set fair prices, and controlled the quality of raw materials. This system helped prevent the exploitation of workers and maintain stable prices for consumers while ensuring a decent living for craftsmen. The guild system's influence extended beyond the workshop into every aspect of urban life. Guild members participated in civic ceremonies, religious processions, and city governance. Their workshops became centers of social interaction, where business dealings were conducted and news was exchanged. This created a rich tapestry of urban life where commercial, social, and cultural activities were deeply intertwined. Consider how different today's world would be if medieval guilds had never existed. How would your profession be affected? Share your thoughts in the comments. In the spring of 1348, young Giovanni received his first significant commission, a golden chalice for Florence's magnificent cathedral. This opportunity came after Master Alberto noticed his exceptional skill in crafting intricate filigree work. The commission represented not just a technical challenge but a pivotal moment in Giovanni's career. The cathedral's requirements were exacting. The chalice needed to incorporate scenes from the life of Christ in relief work, with precious stones adorning the base and stem. Working on the chalice tested every skill Giovanni had acquired. The piece required innovative solutions, such as developing a new method for setting emeralds in a way that allowed light to pass through them during Massachusetts. For 3 months, he worked from dawn to dusk, often by candlelight, perfecting each detail. The completed chalice not only met but exceeded expectations, featuring unprecedented technical solutions that would later become standard practices in goldsmithing. The success of this commission elevated Giovanni's status within the guild and caught the attention of other potential patrons. His innovative techniques for stone setting and relief work became sought after by other workshops, marking the beginning of his rise from apprentice to master craftsman. However, the prosperity of the guilds faced a severe test when the Black Death struck Florence in 1348. The plague decimated the city's population, disrupting traditional commerce and craft production. In response, the guilds demonstrated remarkable resilience and adaptability. Rather than allowing their economic system to collapse, they implemented revolutionary changes in business practices. During this crisis, the guilds established new protocols for conducting trade while minimizing physical contact. They developed systems for quarantining raw materials and finished goods, created new positions for intermediaries who could safely handle transactions, and established clear guidelines for workshop hygiene. These innovations helped maintain economic activity while protecting guild members and their families. The crisis also led to unexpected opportunities. With many master craftsmen lost to the plague, surviving journeymen found themselves elevated to master status earlier than tradition would have allowed. This acceleration of advancement brought fresh ideas and techniques into traditional crafts. The guilds also began keeping more detailed written records of their techniques, ensuring that crucial knowledge wouldn't be lost if key members died. The guild's ability to adapt during the plague demonstrated their crucial role in maintaining social and economic stability. Their organized response helped preserve not only their crafts but also the broader urban economy, earning them increased respect and influence in city governance. Yet perhaps the most significant challenges came from conflicts with the nobility. In 1350, Count Roberto attempted to impose new taxes on guild workshops, claiming ancient feudal rights over commercial activities. This sparked a confrontation that would reshape the relationship between traditional feudal authority and urban commerce. The guild's response was both sophisticated and determined. They organized a coordinated resistance, using their economic power to pressure the nobility. By temporarily suspending production of luxury goods and redirecting trade routes, they demonstrated their essential role in the region's economy. The guilds also leveraged their international connections, gaining support from trading partners in other cities who threatened to boycott noble-controlled markets. The conflict culminated in a series of negotiations that established new legal precedents. The resulting agreement, known as the Charter of Urban Liberties, formally recognized the guild's right to self-governance in commercial matters. This document became a model for other cities, helping to establish the legal framework for independent urban commerce throughout Europe. These events demonstrated the guild's growing political acumen. They had evolved from simple craft associations into sophisticated organizations capable of defending their interests against traditional power structures. Their success in these confrontations helped establish the commercial middle class as a distinct and influential social group, forever changing the social fabric of medieval Europe. The resolution of these conflicts also led to unexpected innovations in guild structure. To prevent future threats to their independence, guilds developed more formal systems of mutual support and political representation. They created new positions for legal advocates and established permanent funds for defending their rights. These institutional developments helped transform medieval guilds from loose associations of craftsmen into powerful organizations that would influence European society for centuries to come. Through these pivotal events, the Cathedral Commission, the Plague Crisis, and the nobility conflict, the guild system demonstrated its resilience, adaptability, and growing sophistication. Each challenge led to innovations that strengthened the guild's position and contributed to the emergence of modern commercial practices. These turning points not only shaped the development of medieval commerce but also laid the groundwork for many aspects of modern business and professional organization. The medieval guild system fostered an extraordinary period of technical innovation and intellectual growth that laid the foundation for modern manufacturing and business practices. Within the workshops of medieval Europe, craftsmen constantly pushed the boundaries of their trades, developing sophisticated tools and techniques that would transform production methods. In the metalworking trades, significant advances emerged through practical experimentation. Blacksmiths developed new types of hammers with precisely balanced heads that allowed for more controlled striking, while goldsmiths invented delicate tools for manipulating precious metals at microscopic scales. The introduction of the draw plate, a tool featuring precisely graduated holes for drawing wire to exact dimensions, revolutionized jewelry making and enabled the production of consistent gauge wire for the first time in history. Textile manufacturing saw particularly dramatic innovations. The introduction of the horizontal loom with foot treadles increased production speed dramatically, while new wool combing techniques improved the quality of thread. Weavers developed complex systems of heddles that allowed for the creation of increasingly intricate patterns, leading to the development of sophisticated damask and brocade fabrics that would have been impossible with earlier technology. Quality control systems evolved from simple visual inspections into sophisticated protocols. Guilds established standardized measurements and testing procedures specific to each craft. Cloth merchants developed standardized lengths and precise systems for grading wool quality. Metalworkers created testing marks to verify the purity of precious metals, leading to the development of hallmarking systems that remain in use today. The need for accurate record-keeping drove significant advances in literacy and numeracy among guild members. While early medieval craftsmen might have relied solely on memory and oral tradition, by the 13th century, many master craftsmen maintained detailed written records of their business transactions. These records included inventories, costs of materials, worker payments, and sales records, requiring a level of literacy and mathematical skill previously unknown among the working classes. Mathematical innovation flourished as merchants and craftsmen faced increasingly complex business challenges. The need to calculate compound interest, track multiple currencies, and manage complex inventories led to the development of new mathematical techniques. The adoption of Arabic numerals and the introduction of double-entry bookkeeping revolutionized business mathematics, making complex calculations more accessible and accurate. Guild education expanded beyond purely technical training to include business and administrative skills. Apprentices learned not only their craft but also the fundamentals of business management, including pricing strategies, inventory control, and basic accounting. This comprehensive education created a new class of artisan entrepreneurs who combined technical expertise with business acumen. The Guild's emphasis on documentation led to the creation of detailed technical manuals and pattern books. These works preserved craft knowledge and facilitated its transmission across generations. Some of these manuscripts, such as Theophilus's On Divers Arts from the 12th century, provide invaluable insights into medieval manufacturing techniques and remain relevant to craftsmen today. International trade and travel among guild members facilitated the exchange of knowledge and techniques across Europe. Journeymen traveling between cities brought new methods and styles with them, while international trade fairs became important centers for technical and cultural exchange. This movement of skilled workers and ideas helped spread innovations rapidly across the continent. The guild system also fostered intellectual property concepts. While patent laws didn't exist in their modern form, guilds developed systems for recognizing and protecting innovative techniques. Master craftsmen who developed new methods could be granted exclusive rights to use them within their guild, creating incentives for innovation while ensuring the originator benefited from their creativity. Libraries began to appear in guild halls, containing not only business records and technical manuals but also works on geometry, astronomy, and natural philosophy. These collections reflected the growing intellectual sophistication of guild members and their understanding that broader knowledge could enhance their crafts. The integration of art and technology became increasingly sophisticated. Goldsmiths studied geometry to create more complex designs, while stonemasons applied advanced mathematical principles to architectural construction. This marriage of practical craft with intellectual pursuit helped bridge the traditional divide between manual and mental labor. Guild-based education also emphasized ethical and moral development. Apprentices learned not just technical skills but also the values of honest dealing, fair pricing, and social responsibility. This moral education helped establish ethical business practices that would influence commercial behavior for centuries. These cultural and intellectual developments within the guild system helped create a new understanding of craftsmanship that combined manual skill with intellectual achievement. This integration of hand and mind, of practical technique and theoretical knowledge, would prove crucial in the later development of scientific and industrial innovation, establishing patterns of technical education and professional development that continue to influence modern practices. The medieval guild system operated within a vast network of international trade and cultural exchange that transformed European craftsmanship and commerce. These connections created complex webs of influence that shaped everything from artistic styles to manufacturing techniques, ultimately contributing to a rich tapestry of medieval material culture. The great trade routes connecting European cities formed the backbone of medieval commerce. Venice, as a gateway to the east, became a crucial hub where European guilds encountered exotic materials and techniques from the Byzantine Empire, the Islamic world, and even distant China. Venetian glassmakers, for instance, adapted Middle Eastern glassmaking techniques to create their famous Cristallo glass, while incorporating Chinese porcelain designs into their decorative patterns. The Hanseatic League, a powerful network of merchant guilds spanning the Baltic and North Seas, established sophisticated trading systems that connected northern European craftsmen with resources and markets from London to Novgorod. This network enabled the rapid spread of innovations. German metalworking techniques reached Scandinavian workshops, while English woolworking methods influenced continental textile production. International trade fairs became vital centers of cultural and technical exchange. The Champagne fairs, held annually in various French towns, drew merchants and craftsmen from across Europe and beyond. These gatherings served not just as marketplaces but as forums where artisans could observe different techniques, exchange knowledge, and establish lasting business relationships. A Florentine goldsmith might encounter new enameling techniques from Byzantine craftsmen, while a Flemish weaver might learn Persian dyeing methods. The influence of Eastern techniques dramatically transformed European craftsmanship. Islamic metalworking methods, particularly in damascening and inlay work, revolutionized European decorative arts. The introduction of Arabic geometric patterns influenced everything from textile design to architectural ornamentation. Persian carpet weaving techniques inspired new approaches to textile production in European workshops. New materials arriving through these trade networks spurred innovation in guild workshops. The availability of ultramarine blue from Afghan lapis lazuli transformed painting techniques, while Chinese silk prompted European weavers to develop new methods for working with this luxurious material. The introduction of papermaking technology from the Islamic world revolutionized record-keeping and pattern-making practices within the guilds. Cultural exchange also occurred through the movement of craftsmen themselves. Jewish artisans, often operating outside the formal guild system, brought sophisticated metalworking and jewelry-making techniques from Islamic lands. Byzantine craftsmen fleeing the fall of Constantinople brought advanced techniques in metalwork, ivory carving, and manuscript illumination to Western Europe. The Crusades, despite their primary military and religious purposes, served as significant channels for technical and artistic exchange. Returning crusaders brought back new architectural concepts, decorative styles, and craft techniques observed in the Holy Land. This influence can be seen in the adoption of pointed arches, geometric patterns, and new methods of stone carving in European architecture. Different regions developed specialized techniques that became sought after throughout Europe. Italian silk weavers in Lucca developed complex drawloom techniques that revolutionized pattern weaving. German metalworkers in Nuremberg became renowned for their precision instruments and complex mechanical devices. These regional specialties drove both competition and collaboration between guild centers. The exchange of pattern books and technical manuscripts facilitated the spread of new designs and techniques. These documents, often carefully guarded as guild secrets, nonetheless circulated among master craftsmen, spreading innovative approaches across Europe. The development of printing in the 15th century accelerated this exchange of technical knowledge. Competition between guild centers drove innovation and specialization. When one city's guilds developed superior techniques or products, others would strive to match or surpass them. This competitive dynamic led to the emergence of specialized manufacturing centers: Toledo for swords, Murano for glass, Bruges for textiles. Environmental factors also influenced guild practices. The availability of specific raw materials in different regions led to specialized techniques. The pure water of certain regions proved ideal for textile finishing, while particular clay deposits were perfect for pottery production. Guilds adapted their practices to make the best use of local resources while importing materials they couldn't source locally. The interaction between urban and rural craft traditions created unique hybrid techniques. Rural craftsmen, often working outside the formal guild system, contributed traditional methods that guild artisans would refine and standardize. This synthesis of folk craft and guild expertise led to innovations in everything from woodworking to metalsmithing. Religious influences shaped both technique and design. Islamic restrictions on figurative art led to the development of sophisticated geometric patterns that influenced European decorative arts. Christian iconography created demand for specific crafting techniques, particularly in metalwork and painting, while Jewish craftsmen developed specialized techniques for religious articles. These external influences and interactions created a dynamic environment where innovation and tradition could coexist and cross-pollinate. The guild system, rather than being a closed and conservative institution, proved remarkably adaptive in incorporating new ideas while maintaining high standards of craftsmanship. This balance between innovation and tradition helped create the rich material culture of medieval Europe while laying the groundwork for future technological and artistic developments. The medieval guild system's influence extends far beyond its historical period, fundamentally shaping modern economic and social structures. Its legacy continues to resonate in contemporary institutions, professional practices, and economic organizations, offering valuable insights into the evolution of work and commerce. The emergence of the middle class represents perhaps the guild's most profound historical impact. By creating a social and economic space between nobility and peasantry, guild craftsmen and merchants established a new social category based on skill, wealth, and urban living. This transformation laid the groundwork for modern social mobility and entrepreneurship, challenging the rigid hierarchies of feudal society. The development of banking and financial systems owes much to guild innovations. Guild merchants pioneered complex financial instruments like letters of credit, insurance policies, and partnership agreements. The necessity of managing international trade led to sophisticated accounting practices, including double-entry bookkeeping, first developed in Italian guild centers. These financial innovations formed the foundation of modern banking systems. Quality standardization, a cornerstone of guild practice, evolved into modern certification systems. The guild mark, which guaranteed a product's quality and origin, finds its modern equivalent in international standards organizations, professional certifications, and product quality guarantees. The concept of regulated quality control, first systematized by the guilds, remains crucial in modern manufacturing and service industries. Modern professional associations directly descend from the guild tradition. Like their medieval predecessors, these organizations establish professional standards, regulate entry into trades, and protect members' interests. The American Bar Association, medical boards, and trade unions all reflect guild principles of professional self-regulation and collective representation. The apprenticeship model, though transformed, persists in modern professional training. Medical residencies, legal clerkships, and technical apprenticeships all echo the guild system of structured professional development. The concept of combining practical experience with theoretical knowledge, central to guild education, remains vital in professional training across industries. Labor regulations and workers' rights trace their origins to guild practices. The guild system's attention to working conditions, fair wages, and worker protection established precedents for modern labor laws. Concepts like the 8-hour workday, workplace safety standards, and fair compensation all have roots in guild regulations. The relationship between education and professional practice continues to reflect guild influences. Professional schools combining theoretical knowledge with practical training follow the guild tradition of comprehensive craft education. The modern emphasis on continuing professional development echoes the guild system's commitment to lifelong learning and skill enhancement. Innovation and technological development, carefully managed within the guild system, find parallels in modern patent systems and intellectual property rights. The guild balance between protecting trade secrets and fostering innovation influences contemporary approaches to managing technological advancement and professional knowledge. Urban development and planning still show the influence of guild organization. The concept of specialized industrial districts, with related businesses clustered together, derives from medieval guild quarters. Modern business improvement districts and urban planning often reflect this historical pattern of organized commercial spaces. Consumer protection measures trace their origins to guild regulations. Modern product liability laws, warranty systems, and consumer rights protections echo guild practices of ensuring product quality and fair dealing. The guild emphasis on customer satisfaction and product reliability established enduring principles of business ethics. International trade networks, though vastly expanded, continue patterns established by guild merchants. Modern trade associations, international standards, and cross-border professional recognition agreements build on foundations laid by medieval guild networks. The guild legacy of social responsibility persists in modern corporate social responsibility practices. Guild involvement in community welfare, support for members in need, and contribution to civic life set precedents for modern business engagement with social issues. The enduring relevance of guild principles demonstrates how fundamental aspects of human economic and social organization persist across centuries. While modern institutions may differ in form from their medieval predecessors, they continue to address similar basic needs. The organization of work, the maintenance of standards, the transmission of knowledge, and the balance between individual and collective interests. Understanding this legacy helps us appreciate both the historical roots of modern institutions and the enduring challenges of organizing human economic activity. The guild system's solutions to these challenges, though adapted to medieval circumstances, continue to inform our approaches to professional organization, education, and economic regulation in the modern world. If you found this exploration of medieval guilds fascinating and want to learn more about their influence on our modern world, don't forget to subscribe to Medieval Chronicles. We have much more engaging content about the Middle Ages to share with you. Leave a like and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss any videos.